Hey guys, here's Tiffy with another review. This time I'll be reviewing the Henshin Belt Deluxe Vrastum Gear and Vram Breaker Kamen Vram Perfect Set from Kamen Gavv. This is a bundle set containing the belt used by Kamen Vram to transform, along with his main weapon that has two modes. Included from the Vrastum Gear is the belt buckle itself, one rare gochizo, a set of belt straps, and a belt stopper. Then from the Vrastum Gear is the weapon itself, and one rare gochizo. So, let's get started. First up, we'll take a look at our two rare gochizo, which are different from any gochizo we've seen before. First up, we have the dope pudding gochizo. So these ones are what I would describe as cup type, as these are dessert cup kind of snacks. So for dope pudding, it is a pudding snack, and what is something to know about these two is that they are snacks that are named in a way that does not quite match up with how they'd be called in other countries. So basically we can see the lid, kind of label sticker here on the top, and here's what the snack would actually look like. And basically what Japan calls pudding is a kind of cut dessert more similar to the Spanish flan than what people would actually think of as a pudding. You can see the name there. You can see a little pudding type or kind of cup type gochizo symbol. A little button there, a little pin there. You come down to the actual cup part where you can see the gochizo inside, which has this blend of different colors as well as little eyes there and there. This does have a reader for use with the Gavv belt, as well as a little lever here that we'll get to later. And the second one is the Puru Jelly gochizo. And for this case, jelly actually more refers to a gelatin snack, and you can see from the top that it's meant to be a cherry gelatin. You got the name there, some little cherries, and the snack down there, as well as the type symbol, same thing as there. You got the edges there, and you can see that matching up with how this is supposed to be a gelatin does use some clear parts to help replicate that effect. Next, we'll take a look at the Vrastum Gear on its own. So this has got some very bright colors, what with the metallic blue, orange, and yellow, as well as bits of silver. You can see it has a very mechanical look to it. A lot of nice molding details. Got this big lever here, which looks like it has some kind of substance kind of splattered onto it, with an arrow indicating go down and up. Got this port here on top, which is where you can set gochizo. Got your battery compartment here on the back, takes 3 AAA batteries, the power switch there, and the speaker down here on the bottom. And it comes with belt straps, and these are the more of the assemble type belt straps. So, for a refresher, anyone who doesn't know how to make use of these, have 2 straps labeled L and R. First thing you want to do is find the one labeled L, right there. Take that one and loop it through the left side slot. It goes in like that. And take this portion of the right strap, slide into here, and slip that over the other strap and connect them together. Then get your belt stopper through one side. Set it to the width that you want, and then set around to the back. And there you have the completed Vrastum gear. Next up, we can use our gochizo with the Vrastum gear, starting with the dope pudding gochizo. Before that, you need to switch it on with this switch back here. And get that confirmation sound. And so to activate the transmission, you want to take your Gochizo, flip it upside down, set it onto here, and then lower down the lever. And there you have the transformation into Kamen Vram Pudding Custom. So with this transformation, there are actually, in addition to lights and sound, a couple of different effects. If you take a look at the Gochizo, you can see that the part that's filled up the cup has now lowered down into the upper part of the cup to give the effect of it being lowered into this chamber and now becoming this big pudding monster. You can see it is mostly colored white, with some yellow paint on top. It does have a little face there, making it look like a Gochizo itself. Got some details on the inside of these chamber doors. In addition, one of the most interesting things is that the part inside actually can jiggle around as if it was a gelatinous substance. But from what I've seen from another person's video who's taking it apart, what it basically is that this thing is attached to the bottom via 3 springs that let it wiggle back and forth. So then, for a special attack, we want to raise and lower the lever. And that activates the pudding crash. And if you pay attention, you'll see that it's designed in such a way that it does jiggle a little bit when you lower down the lever. So then to cancel out the transformation, you want to raise up the lever, close the doors, then you're going to use the little tab back here to pull off the Gochizo. And so now you have it like this, and so to set it back to normal, you try to drop it back in here, and then you have this lever which helps to level it out. Now the way this works is that basically lowering the lever raises up a pin here that hits this button here, and when this button is pressed, this drops down into here. And then it's got a little pin here. It's one of the 2 switches up here. And we'll bring in the Poodle Jelly Gochizo for his form change. And there you get the transformation for Kamen Vram Jelly Custom, using a pink light instead of yellow. You have the special attack. Which is invisible jelly, which in theory would basically make him invisible for a short amount of time. There is another thing you can do with the belt right now, which is that there is a button up here. So if you take a normal Gochizo and then press it on top, you'll get that little sound. Though it also works if you just press it with your finger. Though if you do that with the lever raised, you get a little error sound. After that, we'll look at the Vram Breaker. And this starts off in bow mode, where it shares the same color scheme as the Vrastum gear, being navy blue with orange and yellow. You see it's got some nice mechanical details to it. We got these two little knobs that actually kind of look like putting your jelly cups. Little splashes of that same kind of faux liquid on there and there. Got a bit of a serrated pattern on the top and bottom. Have that continuing splatter here on the arrow grip, and as well as we've got the creator button down here. And this little cup section now has a little gimmick where if you pull back on the arrow plunger, it'll lower down and make it look like this chamber is kind of filling up with energy. I have this port here to attach on Gochizo, and it doesn't really matter which of the two is put on, it'll make the same sounds. To switch modes, we have this button here. You press down, hold this part, and it becomes the scythe mode. So this doesn't have a power switch, meaning in order to turn on, you have to pull out the battery tab here. On its own, it has some attacks for the arrow mode, or bow mode. As well as sounds for scythe mode, which is actually kind of a chain scythe, which is an interesting idea. And it just cycles through those three. That being said, this is a more visual thing, as doing this doesn't really affect which sounds come out, it's more of a looks thing. So then we can take one of our Gochizo, such as the include Puru Jelly. I'll put it onto here. And each mode has a different special attack. So for the bow mode special attack, I want to just pull and hold the plunger, then release. We've got the, I believe it was the Vram shooting attack. We can switch it to scythe mode, and this time we can use dope pudding. And this time we want to rev this up 3 times. Which activates the Vram slash. And just to probably show you how that works, in order to remove the Gochizo, you just press and hold this button, and then pull it out. Finally, we can use our include Gochizo with the Gavv belt, starting with the dope pudding Gochizo. And this would give us a theoretical Gavv dope pudding form. And then the special attack. And then Puru Jelly. And then we have the Gavv belt's Puru Jelly form transmission, What is interesting to me is how this one uses a blue light instead of anything that resembles the actual colors of the Gochizo, meaning that perhaps at some point it was originally planned to be a more blue color, but then it got changed somewhere in production. Then the finisher. And there we go. So overall, this is a fairly interesting set, I'd say. As far as the Vrastum gear goes, I think it's about what can be expected of a typical secondary belt for a rider series, in the fact that it doesn't have quite as much functionality as the main rider belt, but it tries to make up for it with at least an interesting gimmick, and it does have a pretty interesting visual gimmick, and it is definitely quite unique in how it executes that. Though it does mean that, pretty much the only other thing we're going to get out of this is perhaps something that makes use of both the switches at once, since each of the Gochizo here activates one of the two different switches. As for the Vrastum gear, it is definitely very simple, and it is more on the, more simplified and cheaper produced side of things, with how it does, kind of cheapen out on how it doesn't have a proper mode change in how change mode actually affects the sound. It is one of those toys where the mode change is just for looks, and you can get the sounds out of it, regardless of which mode you have it set to. However, it is currently the only way to get the Poodle Jelly Gochizo, so I'd say if you're going for this at the moment, go for it as a set. But if you kind of just want the belt and maybe want to pick up the Poodle Jelly later, if it releases as a Gashvan or Candy Toy release, or just even like a separate deluxe release as they've been doing to some degree, then that's also another option. But if you're a fan of Kamen Rider Vram, these are definitely a couple of things to look into. Next time I'll be reviewing the Henshin Destroy form. So, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like, and your thoughts down in the comments. And if you're new and would like to see more, please subscribe and hit the bell icon. And for now, this is KR50, riding off.